Hello and welcome to Perspectives, where we take a deep dive into the issues of the day and where we take a look at people's opinion on such issues. I am Ruth Osime. Regardless of the daily challenges we face as a nation, of which we have many, as patriotic Nigerians, anytime we see one of our own making waves on the global stage, we jubilate to high heavens and temporarily forget our issues. We carry our heads high and proudly tell anyone who cares to ask, that's one of us. With music, fashion, art, and indeed Nollywood, Nigerians continue to raise the bar. So understandably, we were totally crestfallen when Nigerians came home from the recent Olympic Games in Paris with not a medal in sight. This is even more tragic, especially when, like every other country that participated in the Olympics, we had several years, not just 4 months, to prepare for this event. This national disgrace cannot be swept under the carpet. You do not have to be a sports enthusiast to know that the days when the best of our sportsmen outside football used to be household names do not exist anymore because we have a defective system that frustrates talent and promotes mediocrity. Nigeria has way too many talented people whose skills need to be harnessed and nurtured to get to the pinnacle of their careers. We're heading for a short break, but stay with us because next up will be our guests. Joseph Edgar, a regular in the house, Bode Pedro, and Toyin Ibitoye. Perspectives will return in just a moment. Let's, at this point, bring in our guests into the conversation. Joseph Edgar, popularly known as the Duke of Shomolu, is arguably one of the most incisive salespeople in Nigeria today, with more than 22 years in investment banking and another 7 years producing some of the most engaging stage productions. Edgar has built a very powerful and pragmatic network of contacts with over 10,000 people, including some of the most influential and powerful Nigerians in a very colorful and exciting working career. He is the co-founder of Hamilton & George, an upbeat investment banking franchise with mandates in power, oil, and gas and media. We also have Bode Pedro, a visionary tech entrepreneur, founder and CEO, and the driving force behind Cassava, Nigeria's first fully digital insurance company. Cassava has pioneered job loss and health cash insurance policies, providing insurance and claims to over 250,000 Nigerians since their inception in 2021, with a 48 hours claim payment commitment. Cassava is Nigeria's first fully digital company and also the proud insurance sponsor of Sporting Lagos, one of Nigeria's leading football clubs, reflecting its commitment to supporting local communities and promoting a healthy lifestyle. So we're expected to have Toyin Ibitoye soon, but until he comes here, we'll deal with the two guests that we have on ground now. So welcome to Perspectives, both of you. This is a very, as you know, I'm not even a sports enthusiast, but I think like every Nigerian, we were all quite disappointed at the lack of medals that our people brought home. So let's start with you, Bode. What is the blame game here? Why do most people blame the government? You said most people blame the government for our poor turnout, but that there are other components involved. It's not just the government. So can you expatiate on that?
Well, the reality is blaming people is the easiest thing to do. As Nigerians, we all have to take responsibility for our performance. With that being said, there's responsibility and there's accountability. There's an institution called the Nigerian Olympic Committee. They are responsible for organizing, managing, and coordinating Olympic activities within Nigeria and outside Nigeria. They are accountable on the basis of their role as the leaders of our Olympic plan and strategy. With that being said, I think what we should be doing now is looking forward, understanding what the challenges were and how we should move forward rather than spending time blaming.
But this Nigerian Olympic Committee, are they the ones that train the upcoming Olympians? What role do they play, apart from the fact that they're the ones that hold the financial pockets or wherewithal? what is their role? Do they have any communications with other sport bodies, like, and all the other bodies involved in sports in general? Is there a synchronization between them?
Well, I can't totally speak for the Nigerian Olympic Committee because I'm not a member of the Nigerian Olympic Committee. But from what we understand, it's an autonomous institution that is not a government institution. Government doesn't manage it. Government doesn't enforce it in a sense. And government actually doesn't have any authority over it.
But are they involved in picking the contestants for the sports?
Absolutely.
So the final approval lies on their doorstep, at their doorstep?
Absolutely. Not only that, they are provided, as far as we know, grants in the millions of dollars from the International Olympic Committee every year.
What are these grants meant for?
The grants are meant to allow them to provide the administrative and logistic support, work with the federal government and state governments on policy, and provide support within the grassroots with respect to sports development as a whole. In addition to that, the Olympic Committee is also responsible for raising both government funding, which they do get annually, but also private sector funding as a whole. From data, we see that they generate probably close to $5 million a year in grants and support, at least.
As usual, we don't see it trickle down. So let me ask Edgar, what do you think has caused the loss of focus on sports generally, and how can we tweak our behavior to start enjoying this game once again?
Okay, so like I was saying out there, once the economy goes down, once the economy dips, there are some low-hanging fruits that suffer very quickly. Sports is one of them. You get? So when people have not eaten, people don't even know, don't have a hope. It's not to go and be swimming or jumping or playing football or whatever is a problem. You get? And then again, I want to say, I don't know how to put it. The Jakonde educational revolution that time contributed massively to this. So his policy of putting schools on every street corner. So you find out that you now started seeing schools that didn't come with football fields, the kind of schools that we grew up with, and all of that. So that must have cascaded and fast-tracked this loss of interest and focus on sports locally. So, but now we have a country that is more fixated, with international sporting. So you see very big Nigerian government officials, very big Nigerian businessmen, and they're asking you. You go for a meeting, asking you which club are you supporting, and everybody's proud to say I'm Man U. Everybody's proud to say I am.
Yeah, but that's for international. What about local?
That's what I'm saying now. So the focus, there's no focus locally. So those who are still keen on sports now focus more on international side of it than local side. So for me, it's the economy first and foremost. And then I don't want to join the army of those who are always blaming government for everything. Do you understand? Yeah, there's a small bit of government there, but mostly us as Nigerians.
It's interesting that you say that, because if you say the average Nigerian is too hungry, start thinking about sports. But music is the exact opposite.
No, so music
doesn't necessarily need government sponsorship. We have excelled at it.
Music has a kind of what's the word now? A relaxing, how will I put it now? You can do music without infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah, but sports, you need massive investments in infrastructure in terms of training, in terms of even the arenas and all of that. So you can do music from this whole, and reach as far as you want to go. So you don't really need all of that.
Yes. Okay. But there are several, like I was saying to you, but there are several bodies involved in sports in Nigeria. I mean, if you can name these bodies and explain why they are not synchronized enough to bring out the best that we have in the crop.
I would like to follow on.
Because these bodies all play some role or the other in the sports
industry.
Absolutely,
but I would like to follow on some of the questions and comments you just made. I think that there's a lot to learn from the music industry.
Okay.
If you look back in the late 90s, after we attained democracy in 1999, there was a liberalization and privatization of the radio and TV broadcasting industry. With that included local content policy. I said 80% of content has to be local content within the radio and TV programs. Well, radio stations now need content. Demand has been created. You talked about infrastructure, but actually music requires infrastructure. You need software, you need studios, you need music videos,
They
you
do,
need
but
practical
not as
sets.
massive as sports.
Well, that's nuance. But the bottom line is the only reason why you have infrastructure in the music industry is because demand has been created. At the end of the day, the reality is that sports is synonymous with economics. And if you can create an environment where there is demand, supply will come in. And then you see value being created. Now, that's not the only problem, but that solves a huge part of the problem. And you see that in a lot of other institutions, a lot of countries. So I'll give you one example. Jamaica, they don't play around with their sports industry, especially in track and field.
Track and field,
Yes. Just like Nigerian Olympic Committee, they also get about $5 to $6 million a year from their own Olympic Committee. But the reality is that they've performed far, far, far more
Of course.
than what we've done. But they've actually invested. There is an actual economy around sports in Jamaica. I'll stop there for a second.
You remember that somebody was even saying to us about China, about how there's a camp. It's like a boot camp where they take them from the ages of 7 and 8, and they cut them off from their families and everybody, and they live, eat, and breathe in that camp to train them for Olympic in 12 years' time. Do you understand? We don't even have that here, do we?
Well, we don't, and that goes to leadership. But leadership is also varied because you have leadership at the top level, but you also have leadership at the community level. And the first question you ask yourself is, what does that mean when we talk about leadership in sports? It means talking to the people and inspiring them and showing them the way to go. People don't realize how important and impactful sports is. Olympics is connected to the Greek mythology of Mount Olympus. And who lived in Mount Olympus? Demigods like Zeus and Poseidon. And that translated to sports because human beings always saw sportsmen as a reflection of the best of themselves. And I think part of leadership is we need to be able to talk to our community and say, how do we see sports as the best of not just ourselves in Nigeria, but our different communities?
How do you integrate it back into the system?
It's actually not that difficult. Because when you talk to people and you show them the best of themselves and what they can actually do as human beings and how their self-esteem and esteem as a community is also partly connected to their physical prowess, people respond and they want to actually do better in sports.
Okay, but I remember you were saying something about, because I mean, Edgar was saying that, you know, when we were in school, in secondary school or even primary school, we had this thing called inter-house sports.
Yeah.
There was track event, field event, I mean, you know, all sorts. So do you think that if that was inculcated back into primary schools, especially the community schools, forget about even the private, the local schools, if they bring this back in, it might ginger and encourage some to take it to the next level?
Yes, and so first, the best problem we have right now is that sports is not compulsory in schools anymore.
But so it should be something that is made compulsory. A policy should be.
It's even deeper than that.
Okay.
Right now, sports is recreational. It's not part of excellence. You see, you go to school to achieve excellence so that you can go out in life. Right now, excellence is academic excellence. But we need to make sports part of excellence.
Yes.
So now, first of all, as schools, our governance structure, we need to put out policies that say that your students should not just have academic excellence, but sporting excellence. Your schools should have minimum sporting infrastructure.
Yeah.
And you should compete in local and national sporting activities and show pride in your school in that. So do we have a so-and-so secondary school versus so-and-so secondary school? We used to have a lot of that we promoted.
We don't have that anymore?
We do, but you remember when I talked to you about demand?
Yes.
Have you switched on the TV lately to see King's College
Against
versus
St. Gregory's
Ibobi
or
College? And people are hyped up about it. How do you create that environment? Because when you create competition, you create hype, and you create interest, and social media burns the fuel on that. So I think that a lot of it also has to do with the culture. But there's one other part that I also need to highlight. And when we talk about community, the smallest community is the family, parents. Right now, as we know, we've had a challenging economy downturn for years now. And it's been very difficult for families. But more importantly, culturally, people don't see sports as a way to venture in life for their children. And everybody's just going into academic excellence, but also income. How do we make money? How do we do business? And what happens is that people who have great talent, between their families and their community, they're not encouraged to explore those channels. And if you don't do that, you lose out on those opportunities. So how do we get into the families and the communities again and have them have a sense of ownership so that whether it's a Lekki local or a Tiosa local government or a Papa, they're excited about the folks in their community that are doing very well. And I think that's something that we need to do better.
It's interesting that you say that, because some parents still feel the same about music. That music is a recreational hobby. It shouldn't be something that's taken seriously. Whereas you have children who want to do music. But the good thing about music, the musical aspect, is that we can see evidence of success. So I think until we begin to see evidence of success in the field of sports, maybe parents might begin to change their perceptions and encourage younger ones to follow that suit. But anyway, we're going on a break right now. We'll see you right back on Perspectives. Go grab your cup of tea as usual. See you in a minute or two. So let's get back to what we were saying during the break. Edgar, let me start with you. Why is it, remember those days where you will hear that this person was a 100-meter medalist, this person was a boxer, this person was... there were some household names that we knew then in those days. Exactly. When it came to sports. And they were household names and also revered for what they did. But now that doesn't happen anymore. What has happened to the brand of being a sports ambassador? Why has that now just depreciated into...
Because I think, like we've said earlier on, focus has changed. It's trends. Society moves in trends. So there was a time where it was reggae music, there was a time where it was football, there was a time where it was track and field, now it's music. And there's Nollywood and all of that. So society has moved away from that. But you see, other societies have been able to achieve a certain stability in that trend. They've held it down. So we've not been able to do that. And I think
so?
I put it down to the economy.
So you think sports and government should not be together?
Yeah, it shouldn't be together. Even in those days, we knew that Moby was playing a very serious role in track and field in Nigeria, the Moby Classic. It was that Moby Classic that threw up all of these great stars you're talking about here now. Not even government like that again. Now, for us to reverse this thing back, I think government should just stay clear. I think that we as a country to stop all this Olympic World Cup joke for 5 years. Nobody should go anywhere for 5 years. Then we'll now sit down, put all stakeholders in a room, government, private individuals who are interested in sports, people like Mr. Pedro, and corporates, and even international bodies will say, okay, look, how do we recalibrate this whole thing? Because honestly, go through it, we like killing ourselves. Even at the peak of our glory, we're still not doing well. We'll go to the whole Olympics, only 2 gold medals will come out. But we'll not celebrate ourselves. Do you get me now? So how do we harness 200 million Nigerians who have raw talents and push them towards sporting glory? But if you ask me, the law of comparative advantage is beginning to talk in my mind now. Do you get it? Since 1960, we have not really done very well in any international sporting engagement. Let's be truthful to ourselves. Let's be very truthful to ourselves.
How about in football?
Because so only quarterfinal for World Cup, that's doing well, are we?
How about
I think that we should position ourselves as a country that is producing for other countries to go and win the medal in the first instance. So see how many Nigerians competed in this Olympic for other countries. And see how well they did. If you left those people inside this our place here, do you get me now? But if we turn ourselves to a sporting nursery, do you get a farmland where our job is to identify natural talents in all of these sports and farm them out to serious countries, do you get? And then use the funds, do you get?
Okay, to train them in serious.
No, dash them, farm them, sell them. So, for example, now we have Nigerians who are running for Qatar, who are running for Bahrain. Do you get me now? Who are running? We only know that they're Nigerians from their names, or the Igbo Yoruba names. Do you get me now? But they are nationals of that country. Do you get? Those countries have facilities, have training, have whatever.
Okay, so when we now want to compete, do we now use them?
No, so we don't compete again. comparative advantage comes. Let's stay clear. We are wasting money.
No, but that's like throwing the baby away with the
No.
bathwater.
Hear me out. We spend how much this time around now?
12 billion.
12 billion.
Oh, not plus the 4.5 billion.
Plus 4.5 billion. To do what now? Achieve what now? Tourism, visiting hotels.
Who is even going to be?
Are you getting me now? It's a waste of time.
And there's no fall. Who's the fall guy for this situation?
No. We are the fall guys. We Nigerians. Let's stop blaming government for too many things.
No, but it was government that
No. Are we not the ones that put government there? Why has nobody come out to ask for a resignation of the sports minister? Why?
Exactly.
So there's some government fault. If somebody keeps on beating you and you keep on collecting, it's your fault.
No, but can I even ask? Usually, for a sportsman, if somebody to be minister of sports, shouldn't the person be a sportsman of sorts?
My sister Ruth, leave all of that talk. All that one will not even solve the problem.
No, maybe that one from experience.
My solution is that the president of this country should say, I place a ban on international sporting activities in Nigeria for the next 5 years.
Yeah, but what would that happen after 5 years?
Let everybody calm down. All that money we have been, this 12 billion we have carried
plus
to
4.5 million
we have carried to Olympics, go and waste. If they put that money in community sporting infrastructure, it will go a long way. Yeah. World Cup will come now. We spend all that money and go and carry last. You carry that money and bring it back here and build stadium in specific. You get me now? Yeah. I'll give you 2 examples now.
Invest in the crops and let them grow.
I'll give you 2 examples now. My brother, what's his name? The NFF former president, FIFA guy now. Amaju Pinnick. God bless you. Amaju Pinnick went to a school in Warri. They called Hussein School. Hussein something. So what they've done now is that Hussein School is a nursery. So they've built football infrastructure. Beautiful football infrastructure.
So like a football academy.
Like a football academy with second school and that. So international scouts flood there to pick players. Okay. So the funds that they make for that is plowed back into the school. So the school is almost free. 2, my brother, you want to finish soon, you can go there now. Ikene. What's his name again now? What's his guy's name? It was like we talk in public. He has built a beautiful football academy. Beautiful. World Cup standard stadium. 3, 4-star hotel in the premises. And he has a secondary school in the premises, free education. He's funding it by himself, free education. So people move their children from all over the world. This is Olympics you're talking about now, to go there. I took my son to go and try. Oyibo, white coaches, everything now. He's supplying Italian Serie A with players. The funds, if he sells one player, the money is plowed back into that academy. That one player can move 100 children out of poverty into that space. Are you getting me now? So my thinking now is that, and I could be wrong, my thinking now is that, whatever monies that we are, if we are serious people, whatever monies that we have budgeted for international engagements, be it Olympic, be it World Cup, be it gymnastics, be it that our people are going to go and be carrying last and be coming back, we take that money, you get me now, and plow it back into the community. You get me now? But to do that, government has to stand clear. Government should just go. Government should put themselves back in regulation, policy, whatever. You get me now? And then let serious-minded people who know these things, who have international exposure, who come and start running these things at every level. You know what I mean? Every level, at every sporting association level, and then at every level, either it's community, state, and nation. And then we now start, while we are doing that 5-year period, we now start selling our stars, natural stars, to more serious countries and earn forex that will plow back into this thing. Because you see, we have naturally talented sports children. Naturally, we have children who are born into comparative advantages. The children from the jaw are very good swimmers. If you go to Lagos Island, everybody is a boxer. In Lagos Island, everybody is a boxer. If you go to the South, most people are wrestlers. Igbo people are wrestlers. You get so. You get people who are serious-minded, who will now train all of these people, you get? And then, in around 5 years' time, we will emerge. Other countries have done it. Other countries have pulled back. So countries have pulled back and say, okay, no something, let's ban this thing for now. You go and collect 11-0 and come back. What's the use? let's pull it back. Do you get?
Now, but let's rope you back in. What do you think of what you just said? I know that you also agree that the elite should invest more in sports in Nigeria. And like he just said too, do you agree that we should, we should remove the government and make it a private enterprise?
Yes and no. So the first thing is you can't exclude government at all. We need government first and foremost for leadership. support and vision. And just like you saw with the radio licensing and privatization, government can do a lot in enabling the environment for demand and for engagement. An example, make sports compulsory in schools, make sports excellence a huge criteria for academic and educational performance of schools, secondary schools and universities. Assign scholarship system for schools, saying, hey, you must provide scholarships to students in the community who are performing very well in sports. Push for schools to have local and national competitions between them. But that's not all. Allocate advertising outdoor for sports marketing. So when there are sports competitions, it's advertised, not just in outdoor, but also on TV. Push for local content in TV stations, both local and the likes of SuperSport. Mandate that SuperSport should play 50% of local content, especially when it comes to international, inter-house sports and so on and so forth. So that what happens is, over time, it goes from leadership to the economics of sports, because now there's demand, and then people are now watching, and then to the culture of sports, because now families and parents and communities want to participate.
But in this idea that you have, how long do you think this projection will take? Because, like he rightfully said, the interest for sports has really waned, and it doesn't help that when we do go out there and perform, we're not at our optimal best. So that in itself too can also kill the interest to a certain extent.
So I'll give you some stats so you understand. Soccer, football, track and field, boxing, wrestling, judo, taekwondo, badminton, table tennis. I mean, I missed one or two. 440 medals. These are sports that Nigerians can actually play in their sleep.
Yeah, but we didn't have one medal from this 440, did we?
I'll get there. Nigeria took 60 athletes. Jamaica, 48 athletes. Nigeria, 0 medals. Jamaica, about 9 medals. Jamaica, 3 million population. Nigeria, 200 million population. GDP of Jamaica is less than $80 billion. GDP of Nigeria, give or take, $500 billion. The reality is
misplaced priorities.
It's not really misplaced priorities per se. It's culture. And in the sense that, first, we need to develop our athletes. We do have athletes. There are tons of them.
Yeah, but we've lost the focus somewhere at some point.
Which is where I'm trying to get to.
These same athletes that have this talent or this whatever are not encouraged.
Yes, they're not.
So it's good enough to spill out figures here and there, but the truth of the matter is that how does it get across to the common man?
It's like saying government had a hand in Big Brother and influencers and Instagram and all this stuff that is going on. The reality is that it's the culture that we're in. Social media, we're consuming fashion. And by the way, that's
mention social media. Does it play a role? Social media also played a role in killing sports.
Yes and no. So it played a role in encouraging content that is created by individuals, by themselves, whereas sports is highly competitive and highly involved in an ecosystem. So where social media comes in is, as leaders, local and state, national leaders, we're working very, very closely with marketing companies and these institutions to promote sports and promote all these activities. For example, I don't know who is the fastest 100-meter runner in my community or in my state. Why don't I know that? I've never seen a video of our athletes running on, at least I haven't actively seen it. I'm sure if I go online, I may find it. So what we now need to do is redirect focus. Just like in the US, we know all their sports stars. We can do the same thing, which comes to our local sports like Gidigbo and Dambe.
The question is, who triggers this redirection?
Yeah, that's what
the question.
Who triggers it?
So is it government or is it...
And how feasible?
Yes, and I'm saying that government should stay clear.
I would...
Yeah, I'm saying government should stay clear. Just as I've said, government should stay clear in so many other sectors. Do you get it? Now, what is happening in Kenya, I think you should go there. Do you get it? Has nothing to do with government. Now, government participates in that structure at the level of having a league, organizing the fixture and bringing the referees and officials, all of that. Every other thing from transportation to feeding to whatever is privately run. Now, let me tell you how what guy even does. Because he owns an airline. Do you get? So he even flies his players across the country, and then also flies players of other teams. There's a match I went to go and watch. The team came from Enugu by night bus. By the time they got there, they were very tired. They couldn't play the match, and then he offered to fly them back to Enugu because they had another match the next day in Enugu. Are you getting me now? Now the question is, how do we cascade that Ikene thing? That's the only one that I know. I'm sure they're all over the country. How do you cascade Ikene thing nationwide? Do you get me now? So my thinking is that all these things are saying is beautiful, you get. But you see, it's distracting. We must come to a realization that we have a problem, not only in sports, but we have a problem nationwide.
But don't you think that problem is also because when the monies are given, they don't trickle
that
down
is why
the
I'm
direction
saying,
they should trickle down?
That's what I'm saying to you.
I mean, 12 billion naira, $4.5 million, and this is what we have to show
what I'm
for
saying.
it.
That's what I'm saying. Let me just say at this point. That's what I'm saying, that government needs to stay clear.
Because it doesn't trickle down to where it doesn't go down the right direction.
You see, the point now with private wealth is that if you go for sponsorship, if you go to government for sponsorship, the kinds of questions you are asked are totally different from the kinds of questions you are asked if you go to a private individual, if a corporate, something for sponsorships. Are you getting me now? So as long as government puts 1 kobo into that National Olympic Committee, put 1 kobo into sports, we will not get anywhere because they will be overriding. Now, if government says, okay, know something, you go and fund yourself. You use lotteries. They're doing it in the UK. You get in America. Nobody. We have a lot of lottery companies who are generating billions. Do you get a percentage? How much is $12 billion? I know of a lottery firm that pays taxes about 50 billion annually. Tax to various. This is you get. So how much is 12 billion naira? So if government says, okay, know something, 5%, 10% of your luxury revenue goes to the Olympic Committee, then that lottery company who is funding it will now oversee it end to end. So it trickles down because he will have performance management metrics. He will have all of that. You get me? And then he will say to you that, look, I'm giving you 12 billion. You must give me 4 gold medals in these places. You must give me 2 medals. If you don't give me, there's no conversation. There's no conversation. So at that point, you find out that Nigeria Olympic Committee person, as he's coming back with this kind of result, he's going to exile. There's nobody has to tell him. The Minister of Sports, as he's coming back, is going to dust his CV.
Honestly.
Nobody tell him. But the Minister of Sports coming and he's telling all sorts of rubbish.
And apportioning blame.
Apportioning blame over that because there's no this thing. So my brother, all this is beautiful. Let government stay clear.
Okay, now that he's go on.
Yeah, let government stay clear. Let government put themselves where they are originally supposed to be, which is regulation, policy formulation, which is what you're saying now in the entertainment industry, where they said local content and things like that. Even in the oil industry, because all of those things were able to throw up local. This you get me now. Now, if government continue bringing administrators to run football, run sports, run judo, you continue to have all this mess.
Yes, because room for corruption.
Going to have all of this mess.
Anyway, we are heading for a short break, but stay with us because we'll be back in a minute or two. See you soon. Right back on Perspectives. We are now joined by our third guest, Toyin Ibitoye, one of the most enterprising sports journalists in Nigeria, a former media officer of Nigeria's senior men's national football team, the Super Eagles, and a one-time special assistant on news media to a former minister of sports. So it's a big welcome to you here.
Thank you.
Before you came here, you see, sportsman, you already came late.
Well,
that was what I tell you.
I've been in traffic for about 2 hours, so it happens once in a while.
It happens once in a while. But anyway, Edgar here was saying that because of the abysmal performance of people, Nigerians at the Olympics, that he feels that the sports industry should be banned in Nigeria for the next 5 years. That we have to go back to the drawing board.
In international events.
It should still be banned from international events, and we have to go back to the drawing board. But they here, on the other hand, doesn't actually agree with him. So I want to know, I'm asking you, a sports person, and having worked in the sports ministry at some point, that what went wrong? What is it that you're doing wrong? The National, Olympic Committee, you said, was giving Nigeria was giving $4.5 million. 12 billion naira was invested in this venture. What went wrong?
Well, I don't know about the $4.5 million and what was given to the Nigeria Olympic Committee.
He just said
and all
so.
of that. But, because I know that most of the funding that they got, they were saying wasn't enough. So I don't
But they
know.
got 12 billion.
From the federal government,
So
for
what
the
went
ministry,
wrong with
for
the
the sports
abysmal?
ministry.
What was the reason for this abysmal failure?
A number of factors, contributed to our not doing well. Even if you give every athlete $1 billion a month to the Olympic Games, it doesn't change anything.
Operating what a month to the Olympic Games.
doesn't
Instead of
change
10
anything.
years before the Olympic Games.
It's just like planting, and then you're applying a lot of fertilizers on the
So
day
why
that
were
you're
these
supposed to be
things not
harvesting.
planted years
so
ago?
You have to spend at the right time for the right reasons for you to get the right results. And
Exactly.
that didn't happen with releasing 12 billion a month or two
Why did we get the result?
to the Olympic Games.
What happened?
We have a lot of reasons for not doing well. We don't fund sports the right way. We don't have a conducive environment. We don't create an opportunity for our elite athletes, who are usually the ones that are in the medal range. We don't improve them between Olympic Games. We don't improve them over the years, and so.
But why is that so, though?
Yeah, that's
You
what I'm
have the
coming
funds
to.
for it.
That's what I'm coming to. So somebody that won a bronze 4 years ago that could have been improved into maybe a silver or a gold 4 years down the line, instead of being improved, is not even measuring up to what gave him or her a bronze the last time. So they keep going down. And there is a lot that goes into managing elite athletes that we have to understand. And then the funding issue is also there, and that with it comes a whole lot of other factors: quality, exposure, going for competitions, quality of training, and all of that. You see, elite athletes are professional athletes. Some of them are professional athletes, and they run for money. They participate in competitions for money. And in an Olympic year, there is a tendency of getting involved in so many competitions that you are burnt out by the time you get to the Olympics. You cannot even run as quickly as your personal best during the Olympic Games because you've been burnt out throughout the season. So we now have to get into an arrangement that helps this athlete to skip a lot of these competitions by the kind of funding and training grants that we give them that keeps their eyes away from making money at every
Let me
minute.
ask you one question, because your answers are very general. I want to break it down.
Okay.
How come after all these years and all the money that has been spent in, you don't have the training facilities, you don't have the infrastructure, you don't have the discipline, you don't have the wherewithal to harness these athletes and train them for 10, 14, 15, 16 years before the Olympics itself? Because what you're just saying is as if, we suddenly got into Olympics 2 years ago and all of a sudden we are faced with all these challenges. But the fact remains that there are bodies involved in the sports ministry. There are funds given to the sports ministry. How are they executed to make sure you have the infrastructure and make this training training that they need competitive worldwide?
That is the big poser for government. Where are there no facilities?
But where are they not?
Why don't we have
all
infrastructure?
the monies that have been given for this infrastructure, where are they?
Let me tell you one thing. We don't fund sports adequately in Nigeria. We don't.
So
if you want to get the figures and all of it, sports is not a priority for government at this point. Yeah. We have to get, and the truth is, government will never be able to fund sports adequately. You have to get the private sector involved. And we have to develop.
We discussed that before you came in.
Yeah, we have to develop a policy that encourages the private sector to get involved, own facilities, provide that environment. Until that is done, in the past, government provided a lot of facilities, but they are all dead and decaying.
Why?
Sorry. We don't want private sector involved.
You want them to take over completely?
100%. Because honestly, go through this. You said something, and I tell you, sometimes some rooms where political appointments are being allocated. Sports is usually being allocated to the smallest person with no weight. Yeah, so there's no real serious politician that will fight for Ministry of Sports. Do you get me now? Now, so what that means is that by the time we even struggle and even get one Minister of Sports, do you get? And before the guy settles down, there's a cabinet reshuffle. You get, even if he settles down, even if he's strong, he stays for that 4 years, he's gone, somebody has come and starting afresh from the years now. That is why I'm saying that government should just go.
So let me now
One second, I also finish. Government should just stay at the level of policy formulation, level of regulation. Do you get me now? And they will now have an independent body that people will vote and voted for that will regulate, that will run sports based on the regulation that government has engineered.
Let me add to this, and it goes to how policy can enable economics and can also build out culture. So I will say I'm very proud to know the founder of a football club called Sporting Lagos, Shola Akinlade, who is a tech startup founder. Sporting Lagos is an NFF licensed football club here in Nigeria, and they're doing very well. They had record numbers of attendees over the last 3 years. Over 250,000 people came to watch their game. And Cassava, the company that I work for, provided health insurance and life insurance policies for these players. And what we've been able to, or Sporting Lagos. But not only that, we also provided personal accident cover and all risk cover for the attendees. And the value has been immense for us. So just to what you're saying, Edgar, we need to create an environment where the private sector can invest in it. We're investing some more, so we were actually going to be investing in sports, especially in the school system, because we know the value of it. The parents now will have to buy personal accident and health insurance for their children because they're playing sports. So now I want to say one more thing, and this is extremely important. It's a story. My younger brother, actually it's my youngest brother, Pedro. He is a professional golfer in the United States of America, and he earns income to take care of himself. But where did he learn to play golf? In Nigeria. At the age of 12, he was able to go to Ibitoye club, and he started playing golf there. And then he got a golf scholarship to Rutgers University. His tuition was fully paid for at Rutgers University. And he has now played at PGA China and a couple of other tours. He's earning income as a professional golfer. Now, why is this important? Because there's this chicken and egg situation where government comes in is to support by creating policy and get out the way.
Yes.
And what we need to do is to work out the economics of sport. Because, for example, if Sporting Lagos is on TV every day, I'm going to pay so much more on insurance and sponsorship to Sporting Lagos. And what that will do at the end of the day is that it creates more value. Finally, and this is extremely important, leadership and vision. We say to ourselves, 2028, Los Angeles, we have 100 medals. That's the target. And we work backwards and say, what do we need to do to get 100 medals? Boxing, wrestling, etc., etc. What are the policies we need to put in place? It's actually cheap. Getting athletes to get to that level of performance is actually not as expensive as other endeavors. It's really just infrastructure that has a fixed cost that can be paid over time. And that's where the private sector comes in.
I want to even ask, although that's 2028, I think it's more like 2032. let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because anybody that wants to train to Olympian standards needs at least 10 years, 13 years. So let's not get over the ambitious and say 2028. By God's grace, 2032, things might be able to, no, seriously, move forward. Now, talking about even investing in our sportsmen or investing in our... Does government, like they do in America, a lot of footballers are sponsored to go to universities, so they enjoy the best of both worlds, education and the sports. Do we have that? Why can't the ministry create that?
It's a very complex issue.
Everything about Nigeria is complex.
It's
Okay, break it down to us.
It's not as simple as it looks. You have to get the Ministry of Education involved. You have to get a whole lot of other ministries involved. And until we are ready to do the heavy lifting, we'll just keep paying lip service to all of these issues. You see, the issue for us ahead of 2028, as Pedro said, is, as I said, the management of our elite athletes. It's very key. We had a lot of 19, 18, 20-year-olds who did well at the last Olympics, got to the final of some of their events, some got to the semifinals. That's, if we were serious on a podium finish in 2028, that's where we can start from. pick these athletes and try to work towards improving them, because you have the standards. You know who can win a medal for you and who can't win a medal for you. You know the time in the 100 meters, you know the times in the 200, you know the times in the 400, so you can measure how well you are performing. So we get those athletes and then begin to put a structure in place for training grounds, for development, for coaching, and planning, so that it's not luck. It's not luck, it's planning. So you can project. Okay, let me give you an example. Udodi Umuzureke, one of our athletes, got to the semifinals of the 200 meters. 2 years ago, Udodi won the World Under-20 Championship in Kenya, beating, guess who? Tebogo in the final. Tebogo won the 200 meters gold in Paris. You know, about 4 or 5 years ago, Rosemary Chukuma, one of our athletes, got to the semifinals of the 100 meters event for the women, and she beat Julienne, the girl from the 200 meters girl from St. Lucia also, who won the gold. So we don't have problems discovering talents.
It's harnessing.
It's when they become, talents. When they get to that level, how you can keep them there. You know, it's easy to get up. It's a lot more difficult to stay up.
Let's be selling them.
You know, so that's what we need to do. Identify those ones and begin to work on them. You see, until we are ready, as Pedro and Edgar said, it's a government attitude.
Well, that attitude needs to change. I have to round up now because that
has to change.
I beg, quick.
Quick. So do I need government as an individual? Do I need the Ministry of Sports as an individual to say that out of 50 universities in Nigeria, I will give as a corporate body football sponsorship, judo sponsorship to the best elite athletes in all of these universities? Do I need the government approval for that?
What government should be concerned about is providing the policy direction.
Yes.
Are you getting now?
So
Okay.
Policy direction.
No, I have to round up now.
Let me round up and specifically say
now.
why this is important. And there are 3 reasons from my perspective. The first
30 seconds.
The first and most important, in my own opinion, is well-being, health and well-being. You see, when we invest in sports, it has a direct impact on the health and well-being and life expectancy of our communities. Yeah. The second is the economics. I just mentioned sports in Lagos, I've mentioned cassava. Okay. But sports impacts fashion, impacts pharmacy in terms of nutrition and so on and so forth. It impacts finance. And finally, prestige. The reality is this. We think about track right now, we think about Jamaica. We think about basketball, we think about USA. I believe that if we do what is right, when we think about setting sports, we want the world to think about Nigeria. And
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bode, Pedro, Joseph, Edgar, and Toyin, Ibitoye. Thank you so much for this really deep perspective on the insights of sports and the challenges that we have facing it. We just hope that, we can move forward and hopefully, next time we go for Olympic competitions, come up with about 10, 15 medals. It's not impossible. Thank you so much for being with me on Perspectives.
Thank you.
Okay. There is no doubt that sports should be a major unifying factor amongst Nigerians, just as we discussed. Through sports, Nigeria can build bridges, foster cultural exchange, promote peace, and drive positive social change, leaving an indelible mark on the international stage. Lessons learned from our performance or lack thereof in the last Olympics is that resilience and the ability to recover from setbacks are crucial traits for personal goals and success. Sports should become more than a competition and become a symbol of our commitment to a better world. And as I always say, always remember that life is a learning curve. Today, that's all we have time for. You've been watching Perspectives here on Arise News with me, Ruth Osime. We shall be back next week, God willing. Until then, do stay safe and have a great time. Goodbye.